This behind me is a 2x3 Titan power rack, and over the next 3 videos, I'm going to be building a cable trolley system that integrates with this rack and unlocks an extreme level of functionality. Today's video will be all about the trolley itself, and that is the carriage that rides up and down the upright, and it's the foundation the entire cable system will bolt onto. In the next video, I'll build out the pulleys and brackets that actually make this trolley move, and in the third video, we'll make some finishing touches to the components. I'll put the entire thing through its paces, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about the system. I designed the whole thing in Fusion 360, and I'll be dropping those files in the description for free, so if you want to build one yourself, you have everything you need to get started. If you want to ride along this journey with me from the raw steel to the finished cable station, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. With that, let's begin. To get this project going, I printed out a template with my 3D printer. This template allows me to match all of the hole locations that I'll be drilling on these 2 side plates for the cable trolley. I ordered my steel from Metals Depot online, and these side pieces will be 3/16 of an inch thick. I start off by cutting them out with my bandsaw, and then I lay them over each other so I can mirror the holes I'll be drilling on both pieces. I went ahead and clamped my 3D printed template onto the top of the stack, traced it with a carbide scribe, and then center punched all my holes all the way around the plate. Just so I don't lose track of what size holes I'll be drilling, I made sure to note their sizes with a Sharpie. To keep the 2 plates together, I put down a small bead of super glue and clamped them in multiple locations. On my mini mill, I removed the vise and laid down some 1-2-3 blocks to elevate these plates off of the table. I used my cheap table fixtures from Harbor Freight to clamp down the plates. I won't bore y'all by showing every single one of the holes that I drilled, but just know that I worked all the way up to a 1/2 inch, starting at 1/8 of an inch, and working up incrementally to get there. This took quite a long time. Drilling holes is not my favorite thing to do, and this was hours of drilling. The smaller holes I'm drilling here will be for attaching the inner plastic liners that contact the sides of the power rack uprights. These holes will be tapped to 1032 threads, and the drill bit size before tapping is a number 21 drill bit. The largest hole on the plates and also the longest to drill is going to be the 2-inch hole right at the front of the trolley. These holes will accept a 2-inch sleeve for loading on the plates. I happen to have a 48mm hole saw, which is pretty close to the size that I needed. In reality, I probably needed a 50mm hole saw for my application, but this is what I had on hand, and I figured I could always enlarge the hole later if needed. I also thought that this hole saw might produce a hole slightly larger than its stated dimensions. I took my time with this and used a good deal of cutting fluid, and after about 30 minutes, I had a 2-inch hole going through both pieces of plate. The last thing I did before tapping all of the smaller holes is I counterbored 2 of the holes that are closest to the 2-inch loading pin hole. There's going to be a smaller plate that connects both of these larger side plates together that has a pop pin in it which holds the loading bar in place. I'll be using these carbide drill taps for all of the tapping in this project, and I can't recommend them enough. Ever since finding these guys, I prefer using them over traditional taps whenever I have a chance to. They're made out of carbide, and if you're careful with them, they can really speed up your work. I made sure to put a good deal of cutting fluid on the tip of these, and then I brush them clean after each hole so that they don't get hung up and twisted off with the chips from the previous hole. So with all the holes drilled, I can go about cutting out and grinding out the profile of the original template. I got the bulk of the material removed on my portable metal cutting bandsaw and stand, and then headed over to my grinding room. Here I'll be using my 2x72 belt grinder and grinding to my scribe lines. This shop is set up for handmade custom knife making, but it's kind of fun to do non-knife making related projects in here. This operation felt very natural for me because profiling to scribe lines is very common in stock removal knife making. To get into the tight spots, I laid my grinder down in the horizontal position and then threw on a small wheel attachment. This let me get into all the radiuses and also into the V-shaped geometry at the bottom of the design. I originally designed these side plates with this V cutout to double as a catch for racks that have holes on the sides of the vertical. I'm not sure if it's going to get used on my rack, but I wanted to put it there just in case I want to test it later. While I was in the horizontal position with the grinder, I did my best to clean up all the grind lines on the edges so that I had a flat and professional looking finish. With the grinding done, I used my deburring wheel, which is a Scotch-Brite wheel on my buffer, to knock off all of the burrs. This made a bit of a mess, but it's really nice having all those burrs gone so I don't risk cutting my fingers on the edges. After that, I cleaned up both plates thoroughly and set them aside. Now we're going to go on to the small crossbar. Once again, I printed out a 3D template for this piece. This 3D print is going to allow me to profile out the rough outside dimensions, and then I'll head to my mill to really get them dialed in. Just like the bigger plates, I cut it out on the bandsaw and then ground down to the scribe lines with my 2x72 belt grinder. I then brought it over to the mill, threw it in my vise, and milled down all the sides so that they are parallel with each other and flat. One of the most important dimensions here is the total length of the bracket. I measured it to around 2.38 inches, and it really needs to be 2.375 inches to fit our design. So I was pretty close. I went back to the mill, I removed about 10 thousandths of an inch off the top, and then had it perfect. Next up, we'll be drilling and tapping the 4 holes in this bracket so that it can attach to the middle of the 2 plates we fabricated earlier. I'm using this edge finder on my mill, and it allows me to find the exact edge on my digital readout, and from there I can measure the total width of the piece. Once I have that dimension, I cut it in half to find the center of the bracket. Then I do the same thing on the longer axis to find that edge and start drilling my holes per my CAD design. I'm pre-drilling these 1032 holes with a number 21 drill bit. With those 4 number 21 holes drilled, I turn the bracket on its side and start drilling the hole to accept my M10 tap. This is actually an oddball tap that I didn't have in my arsenal. I actually overnighted one of these taps from Amazon so I can keep this project moving. This M10 by 1 pitch is the size that is needed to accommodate the pop pin that I ordered online. Since I have this hole lined up in the mill, I go ahead and put the tap in my chuck and start it by hand. Then I disconnect the chuck from the tap and then use my tapping bar to finish it out. Did a little quick test fit and my pop pin threads fit nicely. Using the same carbide drill tap I used earlier, I carefully tap these 4 holes down to about a ½ inch into the bar. When you have a closed hole, you want to be very careful with these drill taps so you don't spin them off after you bottom out. That's why I drilled my 1032 holes here a little deeper than they needed to go, and I don't tap the entire way down. With all that done, we're ready for the test fit, and I started off by installing the liner. One thing I noticed on this first install was that the countersunk holes in my liners aren't large enough, so the hardware attaching the liners is sitting a little proud of the liners themselves and contacting the metal power rack. That's something I went back and changed later. I actually made multiple adjustments to these liners before everything fit right. It was one of the small fidgety things that I needed to make a few passes at, and I didn't get right off the bat. But this first time around, I got it lightly assembled and everything was coming together nicely. To get the loading bar fabricated, I used an old farmer's carry handle from a cheap Chinese set that I don't use anymore. It's basically scrap steel to me, so this was a perfect piece to cut off and use for this prototype. Using my metal cutting chop saw, I cut off the end and drilled a hole directly in the center for the pop pin. It's at this point I realized my 2-inch holes were too small, so I got out my trusty $10 Dremel from Harbor Freight and spent about an hour enlarging both of these holes so that they will accept my loading bar. Once that was done, I could slide in the cleaned up loading bar and secure it with the pop pin. Before we head back to the rack, I'm adding a new component here, and that is these plate protectors that affix to the sides of the carriage. These are about 3/4 of an inch thick, and the whole point is to protect my plates from the large 1/2-inch hardware on this trolley. I laid it out and used a drill bit to mark where the 4 holes will intersect the main plates. Then I attached the 2 plates together using the 1032 threads already there, and got to drilling the 4 new holes for the plate protectors. Once I had them drilled just like earlier, I used my carbide drill tap to put 1032 threads through both pieces at the same time. As you can see here, the modified liners that I printed were way too thin, and there was a lot of play between the liners and the rack. After taking a measurement with my calipers, it basically told me to reprint the same size I had originally, which is around 3/16 of an inch. So I did that. I printed new 3/16 of an inch liners, this time with larger countersunk holes, so that my hardware would sink deeper into the liners. I thought that could have been my original problem. Once I swapped these liners out and put them back on the rack, clearance was definitely fine on the lower sections of the rack, but when I went up the rack, I noticed the dimensions of the rack itself actually changed a little bit, and the trolley would get stuck in the higher positions. To fix that, I took the liners off again. I removed 20 thousandths from each side of them in CAD and reprinted them with 40 thousandths of an inch total play. I put them back on and was in business with a smooth operating trolley all the way from the bottom to the top of the upright. All right, so I think this guy's turned out pretty good. I'm gonna go over all of the little details of this trolley, but before I do, I just wanna note, like I did at the beginning of the video, that I'll be building out the rest of the cable system in part 2, and I'll be putting the final touches on everything and the finishing of it all on part 3. And part 3 is also going to have the performance testing of this unit and seeing like what kind of movements I can do with it and stuff like that. So if you want to see those and you want to see the fruition of this whole project, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to go through some of the key features of this guy real fast. One of them is going to be the plate protector. So you can see I have a plate on here, pushing it up against the plate protector, which is about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm not contacting that 1/2 of an inch bolt right here. Now, I'll also double up these washers on this side to give me just a little bit more even spacing on both sides of this hardware. Now, there are a couple solutions for limiting the travel of this trolley, kind of giving it a solid stop. I have a pin in here, and these 2 bolts on the bottom contact that pin, providing that solid stop. I also put a hole here because I was going to play around with putting a pin directly through the back, but I just feel like there's not enough space to move your fingers, and that pin can contact this loading bar. Another option would be if you had a rack with holes on the side, you can put a pin through here, kind of like these holes, but if you had it all the way down, you could put a pin through here and try to stop the travel that way. But once again, those would be sticking out pretty far and probably contacting the plates that you have on here. So I really think that this bottom stopper is probably the best solution. Right now, this 40 thousandths plate seems perfect. And one of the good things about using 3D printed liners is that I can just print out a replacement if they ever wear out. Right now, I'm using PLA Plus for this stuff, but I guess I could always come in with some carbon fiber nylon and have something that wears much slower. So this push pin seems to be working pretty good. It's providing enough stoppage to hold this loading bar in place. I don't think it needs to be super strong because you're not gonna be putting a bunch of force on the end of this loading bar. The whole reason you have this guy is so that you can remove this bar and put it on the side when you're not using the cable system, and it gives you your space back on the inside of your rack. Otherwise, this would be fixed in your working space all the time. I didn't make these very long, but I also don't think you'll be loading this up with a ton of weight. The capacity on most cable systems is around 300 pounds, and with this much space, you can load up a ton of weight. So I'm gonna try out this shorter loading bar, and if I ever need to change that, it's as easy as cutting a new bar and drilling a hole in it. Lastly, I haven't quite figured out how this is all gonna go. I'll probably print some spacers here so that our cable system can attach right here in the middle of this piece of 1/2" hardware, and then route up to the top of the rack. All right, so that's where we stand. If y'all have any suggestions for me going forward on not only this trolley system, but also the rest of the cable build, please drop those in the comment section below. And until the next time, y'all train hard.